It's recording.
Yeah, all right. So, about spices. So, as you know, India is in the tropical region. Okay, so it has a climate that helps all these spices to grow really well. And these spices actually changed the course of history in India. So, it was the reason that India got, conquered by the Europeans. There were so many people who came in and they took control of India just because we had a treasure. Okay, we had a treasure of these spices. So it is said that, cardamom, pepper, and all these things were exported from India long back. I mean, it seems like in the Egyptian mummies and all, there was pepper stuffed into their noses. So that means from such a long time, the spices were being taken out from India. But what really happened, which changed the history of India, was when Vasco da Gama landed in India. Okay, so Vasco da Gama was an explorer who was who was a Portuguese explorer. Okay, so he was sent by his country to go and find places where they can trade, where they can buy and sell products. So Vasco da Gama, he took the ship. He, sailed through the Atlantic Ocean. He came down to the Indian Ocean, and he reached Kerala. So Kerala has a mountain range, the Western Ghats. Okay, so all along the Western Ghats and the coast up to some Goa. So these have very good climate for the spices to grow. So Kerala had a rich spice treasure, and Vasco da Gama went to Cochin and Calicut and all that, and he collected the spices and he took it back to Portugal. Okay, so they sold it in money, in terms of gold. So almost trading was happening in terms of the spices. So they would give 1 kg of pepper and they would buy these spices up, and the person who's buying would pay back. Like, it was like money. Okay, so they used to use it like money back in those times. And, so the Portuguese came in, so more sailors came, more traders came. So all of that coastal side of India began to get under the control of Portuguese people. So that's when the Portuguese rule started in India. Okay. And then later on, Europe was getting, the Queen of England and the English people, they started getting uneasy. They saw that, Portuguese is growing and they're getting a lot of money. So they said, okay, now let's go and attack these people and let's conquer the spice trade. Okay, so they wanted the monopoly, and they came to India, and they actually, fought with the Portuguese, and they gained control over the spice trade in India. So that's when the British actually started their monopoly over India. So with the spices, they moved into cotton, they started doing indigo, they started doing salt. Okay, they started trading salt, and their power in India grew. So they started to control how the things were grown. They started to make our farmers pay taxes. Okay, so that's how they started to control our country. Okay, so India started to be getting in control of the British people. So that was run by a company called East India Company in Britain. Okay, so they had total control of the trade and all that in India. And later there was some conflict, and then the crown, that is the Queen of England, took over the rule. So that's how India came under the British rule. Okay, so British, from the spice trade, through the cotton and the salt and all the other good things that India had, they gained control over the whole of India, and they started ruling us. Okay, so that's how the spices have a very important part in how our history was built. So another important, another amusing fact is tea. So I hope everybody has tea at home. Okay, you may not be having tea, but at least your parents might be having tea every day almost. Like, chai is a must for us Indians, right? So this chai actually doesn't belong to India. Okay, so it came to India because of the British people. Can you believe it? Because the British wanted to have monopoly on the tea trade. So tea was a major thing in China. Okay, so Chinese people used to have a lot of tea. So the British could not, compete with China, and they weren't having the monopoly in the tea trade. So they were like, okay, now we need to do something. Chinese people are very, they were charging a lot for the tea. So what do? Why don't we grow tea at a place where they can grow it at a lower cost? So that's how they bring tea to India, and they grow it in Assam. So Assam tea is very, very popular in India, and it has got a very nice taste to it. Okay, so it is the climate, the soil that helps that variety of tea grow. So it is very specific. Even if you go to stores, okay, any store here, you will see Assam tea, a label with Assam tea. Okay, so that is very specifically grown in Assam. This was also introduced by the British, and with the tea being grown in India, it started spreading all across India. And every common person, earlier it was not accessible to everybody. Maybe in the 1700s, 1800s, not everybody in India was having tea. So gradually, it spread along the entire country, and tea became a household item. Everybody started having tea. So that is the history of tea, history of spices. So I hope this is, it would be interesting to read more about how food shapes our history, okay? There's a lot about it. So if you get time, if you're really interested, maybe you can read up on it, how each kind of food came into our country, how the food which was indigenous to our country went out, okay, and started being cultivated in other regions. So if you have an interest in that, do a Google search, and so many things come up, okay? So you can read all about it. Okay, so that is our, gyan for today. A little bit about the spices, how it changed our history and all. So back to our carrot cakes. So carrot cakes, I'm sure, not many would be, I know that, carrot cake doesn't seem really enticing like a chocolate cake. Okay, so how do you change it? How do you make it even more tastier? So what do you do? What do you think that changes the cake totally? What do you think? What thing which you put on a cake changes it totally? You can change the flavor. Yes.
Frosting.
Frosting, yes. So the best thing you can do to improve a cake taste. So let's say that you made a cake. It didn't turn out really well. Okay. So what do? You make a nice frosting. You put it on top. You chill it for some time and serve it as a dessert. Okay. So that's what I do. Not all the time my cakes come out really well. Okay. There are times when my cake doesn't rise. It gets, becomes like a fudge brownie. There are times, bad baking days. So that's when I whip up a frosting, and I would put it on the cake and serve it as a dessert. You can even crumble it, layer it with ice cream, whatever, creativity you can do on that cake. So for a carrot cake, the best combination is a cream cheese frosting. Okay, so today we won't do the cream cheese frosting, but maybe you can note it down somewhere. Okay, so if you want to take a note of how to do a cream cheese frosting, grab a pen and pencil and note it down. Okay, sorry, not pen and pencil, paper and pencil. All right, so you know what cream cheese looks like, right? So this is the kind of cream cheese which we use generally. Okay, so this is the plain cream cheese. Okay, so this is an 8-ounce packet. Okay, so this should be enough for you to layer your carrot cake, which is of a 9-inch size. Okay, so this cream cheese, 8 ounce, okay, and 1 stick of butter. Okay, 1 stick of butter, an 8-ounce packet of cream cheese, and 3